All right, he's getting married, but she is convinced that he still wants her, not his future bride. She's like, yep, my ex is still in love with me, has no business getting married. So if you ever have a dilemma or you need some advice, please go to thebertshow.com and shoot us an email. 9 times out of 10, there is a Bert Show family member out there that has been through the exact same thing that you have. Abby's got this email.
My ex-boyfriend is about to make a huge mistake. He's about to marry a girl that he's not in love with, and I know this because he's still in love with me. Jacob and I broke up a little over a year ago. He met Hannah shortly after our breakup. Within 8 months, they were engaged. Not long ago, he reached out to me. It started on Facebook Messenger and then moved to text messages. He asked me to meet up for drinks one night, and I agreed. We had a great night and one too many drinks. We may have made out a little bit before going our separate ways. We've had constant contact since then. He has professed he still has feelings for me. He cares for Hannah, but doesn't know if she's the marrying type. If he's the marrying type. I still care for him, but I'm struggling with what to do. He keeps promising to break off the engagement, but here we are, and he's still very much engaged. I don't want to be the one to blow this up. I don't want to let him go. I don't know how I can continue doing this. I do have feelings for Jacob. I do feel bad for Hannah. I do want to say I do someday, but that's not possible if Jacob isn't, quote, the marrying type. I want to believe Jacob and I have something special. With every day that passes that he's still engaged, my belief gets smaller and smaller.
I feel like this is a drug that she's addicted to, and she needs to, just break the habit. You need to cut off all communication with this dude. I just don't know how she's going to do that with how she feels about him.
Yeah, she's got to let this go. I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously. And she may be right in what she's saying, but she also may be wrong. I mean, some of it feels assumed. And if the man is going to get married, he's going to get married. I really don't think there's much you can do about that at the end of the day, even if he is not the marrying type or even if he is not supposed to marry her. It's going to happen. And I think if it's not meant to be, then it'll find its way not being, but that's not for her to do.
Here's what really frustrates me about men. And so I'm going to put this on Jacob specifically. They say and do contradictory things because here he is telling this girl he's not the marrying type, but he is full on engaged to somebody else. So what is he really trying to say here? You're not missing out on anything because I'm not the marrying type, but yet you're still what does that say about your relationship with your fiance? Is it you're okay with getting married to her, even though you're not the quote-unquote marrying type? So honestly, homegirl, I think you've dodged a bullet. This man sounds like he cannot make up his mind.
And I'm a firm believer in, how people treat others is how they're going to treat you. So the way he's treating Hannah, could very well, that could be your future if you stick it out. I'm not saying that 100%, but there's a distinct possibility.
And I can't speak for all men, but I do know sometime as a man, you may not want to be married or be the quote unquote marrying type, but you don't want to lose the lady you're with, and she wants to be married. So you losing her is you'll get married just so you don't have to lose her.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's what he's doing, but I do know that happens.
Well, if I'm her, if I hear something like that, then that opens up a whole other portal of insecurities of okay, well, what is it about Hannah that he was so willing to, if he's not the marrying type, he's willing to put a ring on it just for her to stick around? I think that also doubles down on the fact that you two just were not meant to be.
All right, now Mo, you sent me an email about a roller coaster ride that got stuck upside down for hours, and I have the story pulled up here. But you got stuck on a roller coaster ride?
I did. I got stuck on a ride called, I don't remember which amusement park it was, but I remember it's called the Superman. So it was not the greatest roller coaster to be stuck on because you're literally in Superman position.
You're flying through the air?
You're flying through the air. So your hands are out, your feet are kicked up, and you're literally laying down in the air. And of all of the rides in the world, I got stuck on that ride for what was probably only about 15 minutes, but it felt like hours.
Because so the oscillating fireball was sliding down from its vertical loop at the Forest County Festival in Crane, Wisconsin, when it stopped unexpectedly because of mechanical failure. And then they were upside down for hours. hours.
I can't imagine hours.
No. And so when you sent that, you were like, yeah, I got stuck on a roller coaster. And I'm like, have we not heard this story?
I thought I did tell this one before. I haven't.
Maybe you have, and I just have forgotten about it. But
And the worst feeling is the harness that's like holding you. If you're stuck either upside down or laying down and you're not in a seated position, like you can't help but have that mental fear of like, what if this thing just unlocks and and you're like, you have that the entire time that you're stuck because you're literally looking at the ground and you're just stuck and you're waiting to move. And it's a horrible feeling. And like I said, 15 minutes was long. I can't imagine hours at all.
And then upside down with all that blood rushing to your
Yeah,
head.
wouldn't you pass out?
I thought you'd die if that happens.
It says the complexity of the operation meant that the first of the passengers was not safely back on the ground until 2 hours after the ride had gotten stuck. It took another hour and 40 minutes for all remaining passengers to be rescued.
God.
Do you get something for that? Because y'all not going to just offer me cotton candy and tell me to have a good day.
I don't know what they got. And no, it doesn't have anything here as far as like how they compensated those who were upside down for seriously almost 3 hours.
That is scary.
Better be getting season passes out of that.
I'm never going back there again.
At least pay for my therapy bill.
There you go.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched, you can get more of The Bert Show on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. I don't know what any of these buttons do, by the way.